Cloud, AI, hybrid by design. These are the buzzwords dominating boardroom IT conversations today. But inside most companies, things often feel a lot more complicated. Legacy systems that won't retire, data scattered in silo, rising IT costs, and IT teams stretched thin. So today we are asking a very simple question. How do you simplify IT in a world that gets more complicated and do it in a way that reduces total cost of ownership and accelerating transformation? I'm your host for today's conversations. Joining me are three guests. Christophe, a sales leader who hears the unfiltered customer's reality. Kershawn, who helps organizations qualify these values and talk about the total cost of ownership. And Maverick, our finance director, who translates technology choices into financial outcome. Let's dive in. Christophe, you are with the customers every week talking to them. So what are they telling you with regards to hybrid?
Well, what we are hearing systematically is that the customer, they want to modernize. But we are also hearing from them that they have difficulty to understand and plan their start point for this modernization. So they are trying to find some solution from vendor like HPE on how we can facilitate this takeoff.
Everybody knows that AI runs on data, but most enterprise also tell us the same story that data is scattered everywhere across different databases, cloud, or even on the edge location. So how big is this barrier that customers facing in a company?
Yeah, that's pretty big. And this is where the customer are really having the biggest concern when it comes to this start point. Because they realize also that their data are usually not very well understood. They are not unified. They are also really realizing that they have data not just into their data center, but really from the data center at the edge. So there is multiple location. So they also realize that they have this hybrid framework. And they have also difficulty when it comes to security around this data and governance around the data. So what we are trying to propose to them is our GreenLake platform. And that GreenLake platform is giving them a way to have a way of having this experience of managing the data no matter where they are with a uniform methodology, technology, and governance. And of course, we try to do that into the most secure manner. So we have also a set of offering and workload who can secure the data and secure the operation around the data to present the right data and the safe data to an AI platform that the customer may want to run in the future.
So which means that the data must be unified first, and we must have this data discipline before we can really live our AI dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So then now the next thing is around cloud. A lot of customers has been telling us that, I want these cloud agilities, but their traditional CapEx purchase often hold them back and they often feel stuck of buying too much, too big, too quickly, more than actually what they need. So where does GreenLake Flex come in to help them to break through this cycle, this procurement cycle?
Yeah, the GreenLake Flex is coming first because we systematically have a right sizing operation in front of the customer. We don't want them to take a risk because they are guessing what will be the business in 2 or 3 years. Actually, it's very difficult today. We can see a lot of change in geopolitics and so on, who are not making the planning an easy thing. Yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is they want to be cloud, but I think they want to be hybrid cloud today. So they also realize that they need to have a set of a consumption model also on premise because they want to have the same experience as the one they have into a public cloud. So that is also something that the Flex part of our offering is giving them. Is giving them the right sizing, but is giving them also a way to experience what they experience in the cloud on premise in terms of consumption, automation, and governance.
What type of workload can the customer consume or get from HP?
We have obviously the very standard, I would say, universal workload that you will think about like compute or storage or network that we can give obviously as a service on premise. But we're also working with a set of ecosystem partners like SAP or like Commvault or Veeam, where we actually provide a solution that we give to the customer as a service as well with this third party for, let's say, ensuring the data, giving backup, making solution around cyber resiliency. or managing their ERP system also on a platform which is now operated by HPE, right? And also we give them the capacity to always embrace the latest technology. They don't need to also over-purchase a certain technology and realize in 6 months or 1 year that this technology is now having a new version or a new capacity that the market is launching. We will adapt to that, and they will not have to continue to use a capacity which is now going to be a legacy compared to the rest of the market.
So is it something that the customers can just come to you and say, Christophe, I got this workload that I need for my business, and you can just customize anything out from your catalog that you just mentioned?
I will not say that we can do everything, but we can definitely discuss with the customer of the context that they have, look at the partnership that we have and the solution that we can deliver. And we are also working with some system integrator and managed services provider who can actually add to this solution. So there is certain element that we give from our platform, but we are also working with partner, and we meet on the partner side, right, to basically bring some extra value to the customer, because there is some element that the managed service provider will be able to propose in addition of what HP is giving as a platform or as a service.
So which means that if the customers don't want to manage the workload themselves, they can actually choose to get HP to do the support for them and to do the managed services. Is that what I'm hearing?
As long as it's our platform, yes. But of course, we are not managing application. Yeah. So if it's to manage, for example, the SAP modules, this is not something that we do, right? But if it's to manage the infrastructure and SAP basis, this is something that we give as a service from the hardware all the way to the basis layer of SAP.
That sounds very flexible, in terms of what you can actually offer to the customers. And the other thing is, we have been told that a lot of customers or organizations are looking for outcomes. They are not really looking for tools. So maybe Kershawn, do you want to share with us how GreenLake come in bringing us that outcome to the customers?
Yeah, sure. So I would say what sets GreenLake apart is actually the wide range of capabilities as well as the expertise, that we have for our services. And we provide these services to our customer through a unified experience. And, we have so much of our portfolio. I think earlier, Christophe mentioned quite a couple, right? Compute as a service, disaster recovery as a service, storage as a service. And on top of that, we do have value-added services that we have things like consumption analytics, see what the infrastructure looks like in terms of the what they are consuming. Okay. It is part of our metering service. It helps them to plan and sort of analyze and see, the spending that they may have, and to project it into the future as well. Sustainability Insight Center, I would say, for customers who really have that interest in the sustainability, they are able to see what are the sort of points that they will spend, as well as hybrid observability. I think that's one of the more important things that we would like to discuss, because we do see that most of the time, especially recent times, we see so many tools out there, right? There are tools that are, coming up every month, be it open source or subscription based. And for a customer who wants to integrate these sort of tools into their infrastructure, at what point it becomes too many? So with hybrid observability, with OpsRamp, we are able to sort of consolidate and aggregate all of these tools. And we want to show that it is not the number of tools, but really how you use it.
So all these tools bring a positive outcome like effective IT operations. It actually helps customers to make better decisions on their costs, to be able to see how much they actually spend and not overspend it. Kind of like spending within their means and what they have budgeted for. And the other thing is, operations team often juggle with multiple clouds, edge, securities, resiliency, and all these are coming to them all at once. So how does another software that I heard that is part of GreenLake Flex offering called the OpsRamp, Morpheus, and Zerto actually change the story?
Most of the time when customers share that they have a operational inefficiency, it is not entirely on the operations team. Sometimes it is part of the governance, right? How they are actually able to sort of put in rules and processes for the business team and the IT ops team to communicate with each other. when the IT team requires a certain infrastructure, how much process they have to go through? Do they sort of bring up the resources without any approval? And that's where it gets a little bit complicated and more complex, right?
So you actually bring, I would say, the customers from a state of chaos
Yes.
to a state of order with some form of governance in place that is made possible by all these tools.
Yes.
Okay. Let's shift gear a little bit and talk about how customers think about financial side of the technology decisions. So cost is every conversation's lens. So how does GreenLake Flex help in this financial conversation?
GreenLake allows customers to concentrate on their strength and let running of the IT operation to HPE, which is our strength. One feature of GreenLake is asset monetization, which means that if a customer already owns infrastructure, HPE can acquire those existing assets and the customers can continue to consume it as a service from HPE. And this is very important, right? Because the customers will see an immediate improve in margin and cash flow. The free up capital can be directed to any immediate business need that these customers wanted to invest on. So in summary, GreenLake is more than a technology decision. It is a financial strategy that remove operational burden, unlock cash, and create flexibility to grow without tying down resources on the customer's end.
So instead of customers owning the assets or actually feel locked with whatever they have buy, with GreenLake Flex, we can actually help them to unlock some of these so-called lock assets into cash to power new projects like the AI projects.
That's correct.
AI project or any project, the most important here is the customer can focus on innovation and on their strength instead of looking at tasks or activities who are not really bringing value to their business. Yeah? They are necessary to the business, but they are not value to the business. We bring that platform, they focus on innovation and on going to serve their customer.
So what if the customers do not see this value? What will HP do to help customers to see that point?
Well, we are helping them to first analyze the context where they are, because a lot of the customer also, because we bring also all this observability and data, right? We also bring to the customer a set of data and information for them to realize where are these elements of improvement and demonstrate that. You know, it's not just a narrative that we give them. We also have a set of services and people who are there to basically work jointly with the customer to understand the asset that they have, to understand the application that they have, the technology who may need to be transformed and so on, and put this all stuff into a roadmap that we can then expose to the customer with a business case that we can shape for them for this transformation to start. Of course, it's not something that the customer can do overnight. It's a big decision also on their hand because it's going to be a big shift, right? But again, we are working jointly with them and our partner to make sure that this transition is going to be done safely, technically, but also financially.
So you have a business total cost of ownership report to the customers?
Yeah, we have a tool actually to facilitate this kind of discussion. We call that the business advisory tool. This tool is actually generating a set of reports who actually expose to the customer not only a TCO, he also exposes to the customer into which area of their complete ecosystem the value transformation is going to be generated from. And so somebody which is more, let's say, looking at sustainability will see the benefit of going into a right sizing about this new asset management, into this new financial treatment. They will see how that is going to be beneficial for them from a sustainability point of view. The operation management is going to see the agility that they are going to have. So we are able to give a little bit to each of the stakeholders because this transformation is a team transformation. It's not just an individual into the company. So we need to basically help the customer to bring that to their stakeholder. And this tool, the BAT tool, is able to generate a report, and that report is able to expose this different element and this different business value proposition to the right stakeholder for them to move forward into their transformation.
So now when it comes to funding IT projects, the customer has two choices. The first is to buy the equipment upfront or to choose a service model. So wearing a lens of finance maverick, how can the customers evaluate GreenLake?
GreenLake is not a one-off IT purchase. It is a long-term partnership that evolves with the customer business. Listed companies don't make 3 months decision. They talk about multi-years commitments to the shareholders around stability, continuity, and future readiness. So when the customer partner with a proven provider like HPE, every dollar that they spend is actually working doubly hard, taking care of today's requirement as well as tomorrow's. Think about the customers not only will get continuous modernization and access to cutting-edge technology through the life cycle, they also will not be stuck with any so-called yesterday's limitation or their legacy stuff that they have with today. From finance perspective, we have this concept called net present value. Capital purchase, one-off purchase requires a large initial outlay. Whereas with GreenLake, you consume and pay what you are consuming, right? And the MPV, right, will become much more favorable in the long run. In the immediate short run, when you look at the sticker price, yes, it is looking higher. But when you look at the longer term, it definitely is the smarter way to invest into the future.
And it's less risky. I mean, today, really, if you have a wrong sizing and you have overcapacity, then you are taking risk into your business. And I think customers appreciate also, and the more we go in the time, the more they appreciate that flexibility. That's where the agility is coming. The agility is coming because now they are free from this kind of risk or this kind of wrong sizing that they have been making maybe 1 year or 2 years ago, because the technology have been changing, right? And that frequency is becoming a real threat to the business of the customer. And I think we are removing that, and this is peace of mind for them. They again need to focus only on their business, and they don't need to systematically look at their balance sheet and say, oh, I already put so much into that, now I need to utilize. But actually my competitor is already embracing a technology. They have that agility that I cannot have because my money is already burned into something wrong.
I think I like the comparison. We don't compare the sticker price. We do compare the cost of rather what is the outcome that the customer wants to have. Because at the end of the day, really the key point here is to drive innovation for our customer, as well as to optimize the cost. And if GreenLake can sort of flatten that cost spending, throughout the years, the terms of contract, then it is beneficial for them.
I hear that all of you has talked about this very important point, right? That is, modernizations will not work when technology, operations, and finance are going on different directions. So we have to bring all these things in together, and that's where GreenLake Flex can actually help them. And now let's wrap up the session. We had discussed about hybrid complexities, data spiral, AI readiness, and operational excellence, as well as the financial power behind GreenLake Flex. If there is one message to remember, it will be this. Simplifying IT requires 5 essential ingredients: a unified platform, data discipline, operational automation and observability, as well as a modern financials model. Importantly, remember to align IT and financials on the same data. GreenLake Flex provides this modernized experience, giving organizations flexibilities, confidence, and the freedom to focus on what matters to move the business forward. On behalf of our guests, Christophe, Kishon, and Maverick, thank you very much for joining us in this conversation.